Manchester United are facing fresh competition for midfield target Manu Koné. United are also weighing up a major decision at left-back, with Lewis Hall still in the picture, but Joaquin Seys now emerging as a serious alternative. There is also a major update on Benjamin Šeško, with the striker back on the grass as United prepare for the opening Premier League fixture. And after a disappointing pre-season finale against AC Milan, Michael Carrick has admitted there is work still to do before the competitive campaign begins. Welcome to Manchester Insider, bringing you the latest Manchester United transfer news, squad updates, and the stories making headlines around Old Trafford. Let's get straight into today's Manchester United Bulletin.
Manchester United could face fresh Premier League competition for Manu Koné, with Chelsea reportedly joining the race for the midfielder. The latest development comes at a crucial stage of the summer transfer window, with United still looking at midfield options as they continue to shape the squad ahead of the new Premier League campaign. According to the latest reporting, Chelsea are now interested in Koné, who has been one of the midfielders under consideration at Manchester United. That could become a significant complication for United. The club have already been linked with several midfield targets, including Carlos Baleba and Adam Wharton, as they look to add further quality and athleticism to the centre of the pitch. The Manchester Evening News' live transfer coverage today is also following United's interest in midfield options, including Adam Wharton, alongside developments in other areas of the squad. But Koné is particularly interesting because he offers a different profile. The midfielder has already played at a high level in European football and has been viewed as a player capable of adding energy, physicality, and defensive presence to a Premier League midfield. The latest Chelsea development does not mean a deal with United is close, and that distinction is important. At this stage, this is a transfer race rather than a confirmed negotiation between all parties. The report indicates that Chelsea could provide competition for United, meaning the situation will be one to monitor closely as the window moves towards its final stages. For Manchester United, the wider picture is just as important.
The club have already invested in the squad this summer, but recruitment is clearly not finished. United need to decide which positions require further investment and, crucially, which targets represent the best value. That could determine what happens with Koné. If United decide that the midfielder is their priority, they may need to move decisively before another Premier League club gains an advantage. But if the recruitment team believe another target better fits the squad, United could choose to redirect their resources elsewhere. That is why Carlos Baleba and Adam Wharton remain important names in this story. The current reports suggest that United's midfield search is not centred around just one player. Instead, the club appear to be assessing several possibilities while weighing up cost, availability, and suitability. And there is another factor. Chelsea are not the only Premier League club competing for midfield talent. Newcastle have also been linked with Carlos Baleba, while United continue to monitor Adam Wharton. So United's midfield recruitment is becoming increasingly competitive. For Manu Koné, the immediate headline is simple. Chelsea are now reportedly interested. For Manchester United, the message is equally clear. If Koné is genuinely considered a priority, the club cannot afford to assume that their interest alone will be enough. The midfield market is moving, and United have several decisions to make before the transfer window closes.
Lewis Hall or Joaquin Seys? Manchester United's search for a new left-back has taken another important turn. Lewis Hall remains one of the names at the centre of the discussion, but Joaquin Seys is now emerging as a serious alternative, and this could become one of the most important decisions of United's remaining transfer window. The Manchester Evening News is continuing to track the Lewis Hall situation in its latest Manchester United transfer coverage, while reports elsewhere suggest United are considering alternatives because of the difficulty involved in reaching an agreement with Newcastle. The Newcastle defender has the ability to operate at left-back and has been viewed as a potential long-term solution for United, but there is a major problem. Newcastle are reluctant to lose a key player, and reports have suggested that the price required to persuade them could be significantly higher than United would like to pay. That is where Joaquin Seys enters the picture. The 21-year-old Club Brugge defender has attracted attention from Manchester United and other Premier League clubs. According to TalkSport, United are interested in Seys, with European football expert Andy Brassell suggesting that a move to Old Trafford could offer the Belgian a strong long-term opportunity. Seys has already made 73 senior appearances for Club Brugge and has also gained international experience with Belgium. His reputation has grown considerably after impressive performances at both club and international level.
And from United's perspective, there is another obvious attraction: age.
Seys is only 21. That means United could potentially bring in a young fullback with room to develop, rather than paying a premium for an established Premier League player. 442 has reported that United have shifted attention towards Seys because Lewis Hall could cost more than £50 million, while Seys has been valued at around £30 million. That difference could be decisive. Manchester United have to strengthen the left-back position, particularly with Luke Shaw having had recurring fitness problems. But strengthening does not necessarily mean spending the maximum possible amount. The recruitment strategy appears to involve balancing immediate quality with long-term value, and Seys could fit that model. There is also another name in the wider conversation. Miles Lewis-Skelly has reportedly been made available by Arsenal, with Manchester United among the clubs informed of his potential availability. The Guardian reported that Arsenal offered the 19-year-old as a possible left-back solution, although United were assessing several alternatives and were hesitant over the proposed fee. That gives United several possible routes. They could continue pursuing Lewis Hall, they could move towards Joaquin Seys, or they could consider Miles Lewis-Skelly if Arsenal's situation creates an opportunity. But the Seys development is particularly interesting because it appears to be linked directly to the financial difficulty surrounding Hall. This is no longer simply about identifying a left-back, it is about identifying the right left-back at the right price. For Lewis Hall, Newcastle's stance could ultimately determine whether United continue pushing. For Joaquin Seys, meanwhile, the opportunity could be arriving at exactly the right moment. A move to Manchester United would represent a significant step in his career, and for United it could represent a potentially cheaper route to strengthening a position that remains a clear priority. Source Focus, Manchester Evening News, TalkSport and 442, reporting on Lewis Hall, Joaquin Seys and United's wider left-back search.
Benjamin Šeško return update. Manchester United have received encouraging news on Benjamin Šeško as the striker continues his recovery from a lengthy shin injury. Šeško missed United's final pre-season friendly against AC Milan, but the latest update suggests the Slovenian international is progressing with his rehabilitation. Man Utd News reported today that Šeško is back on the grass as he builds up his fitness. The report also cites Laurie Whitwell of The Athletic, who explained that United never expected the striker to be ready for the AC Milan friendly. That is an important point. The fact that Šeško missed the final friendly does not necessarily represent a setback. Instead, the club appear to have taken a cautious approach with a player who has been out for an extended period. And timing matters. Manchester United's Premier League opener is now approaching rapidly. That leaves a limited window for Šeško to rebuild his fitness and potentially get minutes before competitive football begins. But rushing him back would carry unnecessary risk. The Athletic reporting suggests it would be unusual for Šeško to go directly into a competitive match without having played any pre-season football. That means United may have to manage his return carefully. For Michael Carrick, this is particularly important. Šeško was signed to provide a major attacking option, and his availability will be a key part of United's plans for the new season. The striker brings physical presence, pace, and a direct threat in behind.
But those qualities are only useful if he is fully fit. And United have already had a glimpse of the problems that can arise when key players are unavailable. The club finished pre-season with a 4-2 defeat to AC Milan in Wrocław. United scored through Harry Maguire and Patrick Dorgu, but Milan eventually took control of the match and finished strongly. Michael Carrick admitted afterwards that United did not play well and that there were areas that needed improvement before the competitive campaign begins. That makes Šeško's return even more significant. United need their key attacking players available. They need competition for places, and they need their summer recruitment to translate into a functioning side once the Premier League begins. The positive news is that Šeško is now back working on the grass. The less certain part is exactly when he will be ready for competitive action. That will depend on how his body responds to the increased workload over the coming days. United are unlikely to take unnecessary risks with a player they expect to be important throughout the season, so supporters should not necessarily interpret his absence from the AC Milan friendly as a major concern. The latest reporting instead points towards a gradual return.
The next milestone will be when Šeško is able to complete full training consistently. After that, the question becomes whether he can build enough match fitness to contribute immediately. For United, the ideal scenario is obvious. Get Benjamin Šeško fully fit, avoid another setback, and have the striker ready to play a major role as soon as possible. For now, the message is positive, but there is still work to do.
So, Manchester United fans, which transfer story is the biggest for you? Should United push for Manu Koné despite Chelsea competition? Is Joaquin Seys the smarter option than Lewis Hall? And how important will Benjamin Šeško be once he returns to full fitness? Let us know your verdict in the comments. For the latest Manchester United transfer news, player updates and Premier League coverage, subscribe to Manchester Insider, turn on the notification bell and watch the next video on screen.